So, perfectionism. I hope that you had a chance to watch that video. Um, and it's a really wonderful, again, reminder of how incredibly sneaky perfectionism is in almost every thread of our listening, our thinking, our efforts. There's always something that's driving us to be better and to improve or to get it right. And I thought that I would give maybe a broader context on it's just one theory. It's one way of understanding how is it that it's such a strong drive in our culture and therefore in us as well. And, I'm thinking about what happened for us in the 16th and 17th centuries. And we're talking largely Western culture, which is dominant. We have Copernicus at the time kind of just watching the heavens and tracking that the planets actually move. Oh, and sometimes they go back. What's up with that? And using rudimentary mathematics to track and then go, if that's true, it's not possible that we're the center of the universe, that the Earth is. And he was the first to say, it looks like we are one among many planets actually circling the sun. And that's a paradigm shift from having Earth and humanity at the center of everything as just a cosmology. It's just what we've always understood. And that was, one moment towards many others in the scientific revolution, which said, yes, empirical, we can observe and measure the reality outside us and be able to test it. Let's test our hypotheses. Let's analyze it and find out how it works. And when we find out how it works, we're actually able to do more. We can study the human body and get the architecture and anatomy of that. We can diagnose things. We can apply this kind of thinking of the scientific method to almost everything in life. We can apply it to political reform. We can apply it to the economy. We can apply it to ourselves because along with the scientific revolution in which we're developing all kinds of tools of, the tools like a telescope or a microscope, radar, all the kinds of things that have us kind of go into the mystery and see what comes back. We're probing into what's not known yet and to get the feedback of like, oh, isn't that interesting? And what all of this paradigmatic shift then also gave ground to is the rise of Enlightenment era. And that was, let's take all of this into account and go, oh, so reason is a power we hold. And in fact, if that's a power we hold, we can have more agency in our own lives. And we don't need to wait for kings, emperors, or God to determine who we are. Maybe we have a little bit more say in that. And that when we do, also recognize we have tremendous ingenuity. We have tremendous knowledge from the inside. Let's practice that. Let's actually uphold it by saying we believe in the integrity and the dignity of each human. This humanism body of work starts to come. And the idea that we should protect it, human rights, that we should have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as a right for each of us. I believe that one of the ways that this Enlightenment thinking, with the scientific revolution really supporting it as its foundation, is that we've become really focused on our power to fix and control almost everything. And our psychology, our therapy, many of our social sciences, all the ways that we engage with the world is that we really believe that we are the agents of change. And I think there's some really beautiful truth to that. And yet, while Copernicus kind of bumped us out of the center of the universe, this thinking has put us right back in the center. We think that we are the center of all creation. In fact, there's a hubris to it. And I guess it's just my own point of view that I'll share liberally here, that that is often the thing that is causing most of the problems in our world. So here we are now applying this kind of fixing mentality, this idea of empirical evidence that we can find the solution to anything, which has driven so much beautiful progress. And I do think is a kind of optimism that we hold of like, come on, let's figure it out. We don't want to be without it. But we do want to be alert to how it's infected our relationship to ourselves and to others. That we can fix ourselves and we can fix others. And it may be that there is more freedom when we don't see ourselves as a project to perfect, but really instead to take a look at the infection of perfection on our psyche and the illusions, I would maybe say delusions, around perfectibility that we wholeheartedly believe in because we are conditioned for that in everything we do. It's the same achievement mindset, isn't it? And we get this idea that somehow if we get it right, then we'll be happy. Like if we make sure that our lives are secure, that we've got all these things, which by the way, do it, right? They're practical realities. But how we hold it is what changes. There are there's a path that many personal development, improvement, and spiritual paths take, which is to say that we want to elevate ourselves. We're going to keep up-leveling ourselves to an ideal state of enlightenment. And it has an ascending orientation. And I do see that many people are working on, I've got to get rid, heal as a way of getting rid of, like this needs to be gone from my being in order for me to be worthy. And on the opposite direction is a descending line of becoming whole, which says we use everything in our experience to compost and become bigger in such a way that we can hold it. That we don't need to fix anything. We don't need to fix anything. Everything that we want is already here and within us, just as Julia was, pointing out of, I know this. Or Kate was, referencing, I show up and there it is. It is within me already. So much of what we're hoping to invite in you has to do with this. Because I'm sure you can feel that in everything you've learned, even through the course of these 5 weeks, there's a certain part of you that's chattering back here of, I've got to work harder. I've got to get this right. Oh, I want to be the one who can always apply the 4 habits of mind, that I can get out of the drama triangle, all of that stuff. The awareness allows you to exercise some choice. The awareness allows you to learn from everything that happens through your sincerity, which will include, it doesn't go well. I didn't get it right. I discovered something I never knew. every part of that human experience is there as a part of you. There's nothing that you want to excise or exorcise from that. And when we do, we get into a trap. When we believe that we're supposed to get rid of something, then we are, as I shared in the video, all we're doing is doubling down on the very thing that is the source of our pain, which is shame and unworthiness. I'm not good enough yet. I've got to do better. And if only then, I will suddenly have redeemed myself. To whom? This is an interior conversation. And it is one when we went back to courage, one of the 4 habits of mind, to have the courage to allow the voices and the chatter that's there, the things that kind of are pushing us to get it right, to say, okay, I hear you. I don't need you to shut up. I need you to be okay. Yeah, I need you to be safe and to be a part of me and to put it into our heart. That fear, that anger, that resentment, anything that arises is accompanied by a part of you that already knows you are well, you are whole, you are gifted. You can do this. And as long as you don't have to do it perfectly, you're just going to do what's next because you are following your thread, meeting every moment as an opportunity to say, oh, I now have this experience, whatever it is, for better or for worse. It is contributing to you all the time. And that is when we allow for it, how we expand. So space, that vertical dimension, is the dimension of awareness, allows for all of it to be present. All energies, just like we saw in the Power 10 video, all energies, all conflict, all pulls in every direction. This is life. The life force includes these, and we want to include them in us. We want to include them as a human humbling, this hue prefix of this is what it is to be human. We can connect and relate to anyone else. Their grief is my grief. My grief is their grief. We are connected. I know that's to be true. Yeah. So this is kind of the crowning last gift of concepts for you in Reinvention, which you're now equipped with so many beautiful tools to bring them in. But I hope that this one goes deep, that we have primed it just right. And we do want to give